Hey, happy Tuesday. I was actually going to ignore the thing. By the way, I'm in a different vehicle. Usually I'm doing it from my own, but I'm just finished up with my new job, which is a delivery service job. And I'm on my way back to headquarters. But before I do that, while I'm taking the long drive, because I'm actually 2 cities outside of San Antonio. So while I'm taking the long trip back, I might as well do a podcast broadcast. And I do apologize for the noise. It's just that it's a big rig. Okay. I wasn't really going to do one today, but I was listening to the news radio, and they were bringing up a review of. The differences between factual news journalistic media and the hype media, media made for propaganda, and rhetoric media and opinionated media. Okay. And I gotta be honest, everybody out there is making a good point. They're bringing up all these experts that are doing their journalistic, they're making a good point that it's all for profit. The more shock talk they go, the more for profit they go, and all this good stuff. The repercussions to that is the people who used to rely on the media, who used to rely on the media for news coverage, particularly back when it was mostly off of television and not so much on newspaper, because newspaper was no longer the fast, quick, immediate coverage over whatever subject or whatever happening. Okay, so it was all mostly TV and cable, and that also was what kicked in the BS hype media or propaganda media or just plain rhetoric, and opinionmentaries, And I'll be honest, I'm guilty of it too, as sure as you're coming on to Chris's Comments, a show of common sense on common ground, Afternoon. I'm just as guilty of it also, because here I am doing my opinionmentary statements and everything. But I think there's a huge difference between somebody like me and some big time influencer that can be considered a danger or a hazard, and just to put it out there, okay, not all of it's going to be a danger or a hazard. Some people are just going to be obnoxious, but they've got their foot in the door. They've already made their path. They've already climbed the ladder, so to say, one rung at a time, to make it to the success they are. And I'm not going to be pointing any names, but you be the judge of somebody that really, he's mostly drunk on his podcast, and he does nothing but repeat the same rhetoric. There's nothing really creative about him. But because he's been in the game for a long time, he's got himself notoriety. Even like on YouTube, where I'm constantly trying to block his show, another subject will come up and bam, there he is. There's his show going on there. And it's just annoying, because again, he's not really saying anything. He's just repeating the same rhetoric that he's being told. So yeah, and it doesn't matter what the subject either. So to get that out of the way, he's not really dangerous like some people who are trying to bring up a bunch of anger out of people, and the next thing you know, there's somebody taking it too far, going to the shooting somebody in public, or shooting a public area, and the only thing that that very same commentator will say is, oh, he was just a nut bar. He was insane, you know. And now let's look at everybody talking about gun control again. Oh, those ugly words, that nasty subject. And it's like, you know, it's like, son of a bitch, this guy's horrible. You know, he's influencing people based off of their anger. And now granted, they're not giving commands, but nevertheless, it's all shock talk to trigger people, despite the fact that one might actually take it too far. And for the most part, everybody that's doing these journalistic studies and these, you know, statistical recordings and all that good stuff, they're on par, you know. They're on par, and they know what they're saying, and what they're saying is correct, and all this good stuff. Now that I've brought you up to speed, I like to reiterate my viewpoint, hence the reason why you're jumping on this show. I like to reiterate my viewpoint and remind everybody the differences between hype media and actual factual journalistic studied research factual news. Okay, here we go. Get ready for this. Here we go. And for those of you who have been on my show since 2021, when I first started, you know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this. Okay, you've got a subject. Pick a subject. Abortion, space aliens, politics, foreign politics, world wars, any kind of subject, you know, any kind of subject, the latest in brand names of a product, okay? Pick any kind of subject and you get one article by a reporter that'll tell you these are the facts of the case, of the subject, you know, these are the percentages that lead to those facts. And here's the possible outcomes of it continuing on. You know, whether it be a good or bad thing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, okay? It's just plain factual, journalistic, studied reporting. Now pick that very same subject and go to an entirely different reporter. Go to an entirely different reporter, and you'll see these are the facts of the situation. Oh no, those are false facts. Here's the percentages that lead to that possible facts. I don't think they're that high or low, whichever it is that they're trying to say. Whichever it is that the percentages are. No, I think those are wrong. And here's the possible outcome of what nothing good is going to possibly come out of this. Nothing good at all. It's all so-and-so's fault and such thing, occurrence, and incidences. Okay? That's the difference between factual and hype media. And I know a lot of you out there are just like, what the fuck? Eddie, but you're not telling me something that I don't already know. Am I? Am I really not? Are you sure? Because as sure as people are still following hype media and ignoring the facts, or reading the facts but following the hype, you know, it's quite possible that this reminder still needs to be told to you guys. Or those certain individuals around the water cooler at your job. Now my job is out here on the open road, okay? But your job might actually have a break room and a water cooler, or, you know, your job might actually have an area where you can talk, you know, and chit chat. You might actually be in a warehouse, team working on, you know, some kind of packaging or whatever, some kind of boxing system. Who knows? But either way, you've got people that follow hype media, and whether it be backed up through propaganda or rhetoric or just opinionmentaries, okay? The deal is that you've got people that are doing that, and they're trying to influence you, who should know better, by way of factual reading. And the only way they could say, well, you shouldn't watch television, it's all government owned, or it's all corporate owned, or it's all owned by people who are bending laws and bending them and breaking them for certain people, certain class of lifestyles. Okay? There might be some point to it to some extent or another, true. But here's the deal. Facts are still facts. Opinions are still opinions. You know, you got to bring up this exact thing, even if it's the Chris's method of looking at the same subject but through two different eyes, you know, bringing up that scenario to let them know that you're not following any BS. To let them know that you are following and reading the facts. It's just that simple. Because it's just that much common ground way of doing things, of soaking up the knowledge, you know? It's just simple common sense. And that's one that I wish, you know, these so-called experts who know their stuff, they know what they're talking about. When they talk about shock talk and for-profit media, you know, they did their history. They were talking, I can't name names because I already forgot them. I do apologize. I've been working all day and I've only been listening to some of it on my way back to the warehouse, to the headquarters, before I load up another bunch. But yeah, I mean, it's and for the record, all this looking around that I'm doing, I'm looking at the mirrors, because there's no rear view mirror, there's only two side mirrors. Now they're big, ginormous mirrors, so I'm not, you know, there's no blind sides. That and this salute that I do all the time is just for the locals, just to say howdy. That's all that I'm doing. I'm not really sightseeing. You can't do that with this kind of a job, but I mean, not really. I mean, you can, but not really. You really shouldn't. But yeah, this guy, that's all that I'm trying to make, the point that I'm trying to make with this particular episode, this particular segment, okay? You got actual journalistic hype media, and you've got, you know, the actual factual media, where you could see it's been researched, you know, and that the history of it all is going to be explained and all this good stuff. And then you've got, you know, the opinionmentaries, the shock talk value, the people that are saying something outrageous or connect the dots ish, to so long as you believe what they're telling you, you know. And again, in my opinion, you know, many of you young ones out here, you've been shortchanged big time. You've been shortchanged, you know. In my days, it was that kind of stuff was done on this thing called the tabloids. Now, if you ever see Men in Black 1, they show you that, the one where Alien stole the skin of my husband, our title headliner, you know. It was all the "you believe it, we'll print it" style of media, and it was very entertaining. You guys, however, are following this hype, rhetoric-backed, propaganda-backed media And all it's doing is just triggering your anger, you know. It's just making you angry, ready to shoot somebody, you know. So you're getting shortchanged big time. And that's also the reason why I come up with, you know, my segment of what is the media, the right media to follow. You know, everybody's still going to do researching and stuff, and that's great. And hopefully you guys will read the research and follow through on making your wiser decisions, you know, using your better judgment. And that's it. That's really all that it is. May it guide your way. May all that guide you to the correct decision that you want to actually live. The correct decisions that you actually want to make. And that's it. That's all that I have to say. I'm Chris. This is Chris's Comments, a show of common sense on common ground, no matter what the subject. And I thank you for listening. Y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. This is Chris Comments signing out.